Cikuray was a small town that barely appeared on any map. Surrounded by golden rice fields that ripened every harvest season and the call to prayer that broke the morning silence, it was home to simple people who lived quietly and humbly. Among the wooden houses and small roadside kiosks lived a boy named Dani, 13 years old, his skin darkened by the sun, hair always messy, and a worn-out plastic ball never far from his side. He lived with his mother, Rini, in a half-finished house on the edge of the village. His father, a construction worker, had died when Dani was only 3. He fell from the 3rd floor of a building site. From that day on, life changed drastically for Dani and his mother. Rini was not just a mother, she was also a father, a teacher, and a best friend to Dani. She supported their small family by selling fried snacks at the morning market. Every day, she pushed her cart from home to the market, carrying plastic bags filled with tofu, tempeh, and ripe bananas. Dani often helped her push the cart before heading off to school. His hands were small but swift, and his smile never faded, no matter how tired he was. Dani wasn't a boy of many words, but there was one thing that made his eyes light up: football. He could talk for hours about Ronaldo, Messi, or his favorite local player, Andik Firmancia. Although they didn't own a TV, he would often watch matches through the neighbor's window or listen to old radio broadcasts owned by the village head. Afternoons were his favorite time of day. After school and helping his mother, Dani would run straight to the dirt field at the edge of the village, a patch of abandoned farmland now serving as their football pitch. No green grass, just dust, stones, and puddles whenever it rained. But there, everything felt possible. There, Dani learned to dribble, to shoot with his left foot, and to dream of becoming a football star. Shoes? He had none, just hardened, calloused feet. His ball? A patched-up plastic one held together by layers of tape. But his spirit? Far stronger than any stadium could hold. Other kids often called him the boy with too many dreams, but Dani didn't care. Every night before bed, he would stare at the ceiling and imagine one thing: that someday his name would be chanted in a stadium. And when that day came, he would return, not just as a player, but as a son of the land that raised him. When Dani turned 15, life began to shift. His mother, Rini, started coughing more often and grew weaker day by day. What began as a mild illness slowly drained the color from her cheeks. Her breathing grew heavy, especially when she pushed her food cart. Dani, realizing her fading strength, stepped in, selling fried snacks after school, washing dishes for neighbors, even helping unload goods at the market just to earn a little extra money. Still, despite the growing weight on his shoulders, Dani kept smiling. He still played soccer, though less often now. Football became his escape, the one thing that made him forget, if only for a while, how hard life had become. One day, during a class match, his PE teacher, Mr. Arman, noticed his talent. Amazed by Dani's vision and technique, he encouraged him to join the youth team trials in the city. "Opportunities like this don't come twice, Dani. You've got potential. Don't waste it," he said, handing him the registration form. Dani's heart soared. This was the moment he had always dreamed of. But when he looked at the trial date and calculated the travel cost, bus fare, food, maybe a place to sleep if he made it, his smile slowly faded. His savings couldn't even buy him a proper pair of soccer shoes. That night, he quietly opened his piggy bank. It was only enough for a one-way trip. No meals, no return. He thought of selling his old bike, the only thing left from his late father. But just as he wheeled it out, he heard his mother coughing harshly in the kitchen. He froze. He couldn't leave her alone. When trial day came, Dani stayed home. He told Mr. Arman that his mother didn't allow it. The truth was harder. He made a choice he never wanted to make. But fate had its own plans. A few weeks later, Dani was playing soccer on a dusty village field like always. Just dirt, sweat, and kids' laughter. Nothing special. Except that day, someone was watching from afar. A young coach named Reza who'd taken a wrong turn while searching for a nearby youth tournament. Coach Reza, trained overseas and now back in Indonesia, was captivated. Dani's calm, courage, and intelligence on the field stood out. "Who's that kid?" he asked a passing villager. "Oh, that's Dani, the fritter seller's son. Plays soccer day and night. But yeah, his life stuck here." Coach Reza didn't care about Dani's background. What he saw was pure talent. After the game, he approached Dani and offered him a full scholarship to his football academy in Bandung. Everything would be covered. Dani stood frozen. Time stopped. But the same evening, his mother collapsed. The local clinic diagnosed her with severe lung issues. She needed serious care. Dani was left with an impossible choice: chase the dream that lived in his heart, or stay home by the side of the only person who ever believed in him. That night, Dani sat beside her hospital bed, holding her frail hand, the same hand that once held his during stormy nights. "Mom, if I leave, who'll be here for you?" he whispered, his voice trembling. With faint breath, Rini opened her eyes and smiled gently. "Don't let me be the reason you don't fly, my son. I've been on this ground long enough, but you still have the legs to run far and free. Go, Dani. Take my name wherever you play." The night before his departure to Bandung, Dani sat alone on the front porch of his house. In front of him was a small bag containing a change of clothes, a donated pair of shoes from Mr. Armin, and an old plastic ball, his loyal companion since childhood. He couldn't sleep, not because of the big city or the elite academy trials, but for a far simpler reason: his mother. Rini now lay weak in her room. Her breaths were shallow. The medicine from the clinic could only ease the pain. She was too weak to speak much, but her smile remained, calm and full of blessing. "Mom, I don't want to leave you," Dani whispered at her bedside. Rini gently held his hand and looked deep into his eyes, as if transferring all the strength she had left. "Dani, I'm not afraid of pain. I'm only afraid that you stop dreaming." Those words struck deep into Dani's heart. His whole life seemed to boil down to one decision that night. On one side, the woman who raised him with love and sacrifice. On the other, a childhood dream that had lived quietly in his chest all these years. Time waits for no one. The next morning, with swollen eyes and heavy breaths, Dani kissed his mother's forehead. He didn't know if it would be the last time, but he knew if he didn't leave that day, the dream might die, and perhaps that would hurt his mother even more. A white car sent by Coach Reza waited at the end of the street. Dani walked slowly. Each step felt like stepping on thorns. Just as he was about to enter the car, he turned around. From the bedroom window, the curtain parted slightly. A frail hand waved softly. A final smile from his mother. A silent blessing. The journey to Bandung felt like a dream blurred by tears. The big city, tall buildings, the grand stadium, it was all unfamiliar. Dani felt small and alone. But deep inside, something began to burn. A fire from dusty fields, from his mother's voice, from a belief he couldn't let die. The academy trials were tough. Hundreds of kids from across the country. Rich boys with shiny boots and fancy gear. Dani came in patched-up shoes and brought his old plastic ball, his piece of home. But the moment Dani stepped on the lush green field, all fear vanished. He played like he was possessed, calm, sharp, instinctive. Even a foreign coach watching said, "This boy isn't just talented, he was born to play football." After the final session, Coach Reza approached him. "Congratulations, Dani, you've been accepted." Dani stood frozen. His whole body trembled. He looked up at the bright Bandung sky, then bowed and kissed his worn-out plastic ball. But the joy wasn't complete. A few days later, during a late-night training session, his phone rang. A call from his village. Rini had passed away. Dani's world collapsed in a second. Yet, strangely, he didn't cry. He just stood in silence for a long time, then said to Coach Reza, "I still want to continue training, Coach." "You don't want to go home?" the coach asked, surprised. Dani looked up at the night sky. "My mother has gone home, to a more peaceful place. Now it's my job to keep running, as far as she dreamed I would." Years had passed since that night. Dani kept training at the football academy in Bandung with almost reckless dedication. He never missed a session, never came late. He played as if his life depended on every touch of the ball, because, in a way, it did. In every practice, he imagined his mother watching from afar, giving him that same quiet, blessing smile. In his third year, Dani broke into the youth squad of a professional Liga 1 club. In the fourth year, he scored his debut goal in the top league. And in the fifth, his name was included in the national U23 squad. From the stands of the Grand Stadium, fans began to recognize him, a young talent known for his explosive pace, sharp vision, and the way he always kissed a fabric bracelet on his wrist before every match, the bracelet his mother had made from leftover cloth in their kitchen. The media started paying attention. Reporters wrote about him, but in every interview, Dani always said the same thing. "I'm nothing without my mother, and without that dusty field back home." Even though he now lived in a modern apartment and played in international stadiums, Dani never forgot his hometown, Cikuray. A small town that raised him, that witnessed his first steps in the dust and puddles of rain. When he received his first big bonus, Dani didn't buy a luxury car. He returned home to Cikuray. His arrival shook the entire village. The little boy once told he dreamed too much had now come home, a hero. He didn't just build a new house for himself, he also built a free community clinic in memory of his mother's untreated illness, renovated his old elementary school, complete with a computer lab and a safe playground, and, most special of all, Rini Field, Cikuray's first professional-grade football field, built exactly where the old dusty field once lay. At its inauguration, Dani stood in the center of the new field, holding a microphone, his voice trembling slightly. "I used to play here barefoot with a torn plastic ball and dreams too big for a small boy. But today, I return not just as a football player. I return as proof that dreams can grow anywhere, even on dusty ground. This field doesn't belong to me. It belongs to all of you. A place where every child in Cikuray is free to dream and run as far as they can." Children ran across the bright green grass, wearing jerseys with "Child of the Dirt Field" printed on the back. Dani looked toward the small bleachers at the edge of the field. On the highest row, a seat left empty, reserved for no one. "That seat is for Mom," he whispered. The afternoon wind blew gently. Above, the clouds drifted slowly, as if carrying a message that a mother's love and sacrifice never truly leaves. Time moved on. Dani became widely known as one of the best footballers the country ever produced. He played abroad, scored winning goals for the national team, and stood on championship podiums with the red and white flag waving behind him. But whenever the camera caught his face, what shone wasn't pride or luxury. It was the simplicity of a village boy who still carried memories in the corners of his heart. Every goal he scored was never for sponsors or trophies. It was for the woman who once sat in a small kitchen, wrapping fried snacks with trembling hands. His mother, Rini. Every time his boots touched the grass, Dani remembered how rough the ground used to be, how it scratched his skin, made him bleed, and taught him to rise again. He knew that ground shaped him. That ground taught him that dreams don't grow in comfort, but in struggle and pain. Now, Rini Field is never empty. Children play with the same passion Dani once had. On the wall beside the field, a quote now stands as the town's motto. "Never underestimate a child of the dirt field. because sometimes from the dust, light is born. And on quiet nights, when Dani returns to his small home in Cikuray, he often sits alone in the old bleachers, the spot where he once imagined his mother sitting. He looks up at the same sky as before, but now the sky no longer feels so far away, because the dream that once lived only in his head has now become a road home for many others.